Chapter 1. The Abandoned Beast. The hangar bay of the Voidstrider was eerily silent, save for the low hum of failing life support. Captain Vexus and her crew had fled hours ago, leaving behind only the wreckage of their hasty departure. Scattered crates, discarded weapons, and her. Krythax the White, the last of her kind, lay curled in the corner of her reinforced containment cell, her massive serpentine body heaving with labored breaths. Her scales, once a shimmering ivory, were dulled by exhaustion and pain. Beside her, 3 tiny hatchlings, no larger than house cats, whimpered weakly, their tiny claws scraping against the cold metal floor. The crew had abandoned them. Krythax had been their weapon, their prize, stolen from her homeworld and forced into servitude. But when she had birthed her hatchlings mid-flight, the crew deemed her too unpredictable, too dangerous. So they locked her in the hangar, disabled the life support, and left her to suffocate in the dark. Her golden eyes burned with fury. If she had the strength, she would have torn the ship apart. But she was weak, dying. And then he came. Chapter 2. The Human Who Stayed. Jace Carter was just a mechanic. Nobody. The Voidstrider's engineers had ignored him. The officers had dismissed him. And when the order came to evacuate, no one had even thought to tell him. So when he stumbled into the hangar, wrench in hand, he froze at the sight before him. A dragon. Not just any dragon. An albino dragon, her wings torn, her sides heaving. And beside her 3 tiny, trembling hatchlings. Jace had heard the rumors. Krythax the White, the terror of the Zenther system. A beast so fierce she had ripped through entire battalions. But the creature before him wasn't a monster. She was a mother. And she was dying. Krythax snarled as he approached, bearing fangs longer than his forearm. But Jace didn't run. He knelt just out of reach, meeting her gaze. "I'm not with them," he said softly. "I won't hurt you." The dragon's nostrils flared, scenting him. Then, with a shuddering exhale, she collapsed. Chapter 3. A Mechanic's Resolve. Jace worked fast. The life support was failing, the oxygen levels dropping. He jury-rigged a bypass, diverting power from non-essential systems. Then, he dragged over a cargo crate, lining it with insulation blankets to create a makeshift nest for the hatchlings. Krythax watched him, her golden eyes wary but no longer hostile. "You're in bad shape," Jace muttered, examining the deep plasma burns along her flank, likely from the crew's stunners. "But I can fix this." He wasn't a medic, but he knew machines, and the Voidstrider had an autodock. He hauled it over, ignoring its protests about non-humanoid life forms, and got to work. The hatchlings chirped, crawling toward him. One, the smallest, nuzzled his boot. Jace swallowed hard. They left them to die. And suddenly, fixing this wasn't just about survival. It was about revenge. Chapter 4. The Escape. The Voidstrider was dead in the void, but Jace knew ships. He could get it running, enough to reach the nearest outpost at least. Krythax, though weak, helped. With a single swipe of her claws, she tore open sealed doors. With a burst of her atrophied fire glands, she melted through locked panels. By the time the engine sputtered to life, Jace had a plan. "We're not just running," he told Krythax, stroking her snout. "We're making them pay." The dragon's eyes gleamed. Chapter 5. Reckoning. Captain Vexus was celebrating at Outpost Sigma 7 when the Voidstrider descended from the sky like a vengeful ghost. The docking bay doors exploded inward as Krythax, fully healed and furious, stormed in, Jace riding on her back. The hatchlings, now the size of wolves, screeched as they bounded after her, their claws tearing through steel. Vexus barely had time to draw her sidearm before Jace leapt down, wrench in hand. "You left them to die," he growled. Krythax roared, shaking the walls. The crew surrendered within minutes. Chapter 6. A New Beginning. With Vexus imprisoned and the Voidstrider reclaimed, Jace faced a choice. But it wasn't much of one. Krythax nudged him with her snout, her hatchlings curling around his legs. Jace grinned. "Guess I've got a new crew." And as the Voidstrider soared into the stars, its hull repaired and its halls filled with the sounds of chirping hatchlings, Jace knew one thing for certain. No one would ever hurt his dragons again.